Hi guys, my name is Alex Lee and a huge welcome to you to our Youth Network podcast. We're going to be hearing leadership input from some amazing leaders to help you grow in your leadership. So we hope you enjoy. Well, it's so good to be here with Pastor Dave Gilpin.
Alex.
What a privilege and an honor to have your time, sir.
You're in my hotel room right now.
We are, yes. And you're sitting on your bed, and I'm sitting on the couch across from your bed.
It's strange. We'll go with it though.
We're good.
The thing that annoys me about this room, Alex, is the pictures that are up on the wall.
They're terrible.
Are all crooked. They're bad pictures, but they're all crooked. Whoever nailed the nails, I tried to straighten them because I'm a perfectionist, right? And my OCD was really get to me. But actually, they've nailed the nails at like 35-degree angles from each other.
Purposely.
There, over there.
Actually, it does say this room is for anybody with OCD.
Yes. Probably that's why they put me here.
Just to torment you.
I actually, I don't normally complain.
Yeah.
But I did put in a complaint.
I don't blame you. Welcome to Australia.
No one's done anything though.
Welcome to the Sands Hotel.
Yeah. No one's done anything. And I don't anticipate them to do anything because no one's going to fix it. Not type of hotel where someone works fast in.
No.
You can feel it.
Yes.
But the room's big room though, isn't it?
In fact, we walked into the reception office and the lady was yelling on the phone about how $50 is missing from the till. We were like, okay, hi. Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome to Australia.
Yeah.
The Sands.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I don't know, but if the room's fine, the bed's fine.
Good.
Like I like good pillows. The pillows are fine.
And you've had a sleep in this morning, which is good.
Had a sleep in this morning, yes.
You look fresh.
Yes.
You look refreshed.
Yes, I'm still tired though. It's been a busy week.
And to look, all the youth pastors listening, we're going to be talking about just the genius of Dave Gilpin, the Bishop of Britain.
Bishop of Britain.
And we're going to be picking his brain. So, tune into this and listen to it now. Maybe share it with your team and make the most of it. So, Pastor David, something I've noticed.
Just call me Dave. Yes.
Something I've noticed about your team.
Yes.
Obviously, other than Colin Blois, because he's just he is just an angry, sad, moping person. But the rest of your team,
he did. But he was sad when he got he started to lose his hair, right? And then he did this comb over thing, right?
Yeah. For
quite a while. We actually I banned the media guys from actually putting him on media because the comb over used to lift slightly when the wind rose, right? If he was outside a train station, say. So I said, guys, this is the last time Colin appears on any social
Indoors
media.
Only.
Yes. Radio only, right? Yeah. Radio only.
He's got a face for audio.
Yeah, so he's banned for about a year or so. And I think it's that. He's back on now because he looks quite good all shorn, right? But I think it's from that being banned. I think it hurt him.
Yeah. Well, that's brought the best out of him, really, hasn't it?
Well, it has.
Look at him now.
Look at him now, zooming.
But other than Colin, your team is fun. They're like fully invested. They love you guys.
Yeah.
They love the church. They love the movement.
Yeah.
How have you cultivated that kind of culture?
I don't know. I think because I'm a child on the inside too. Like I don't think I've grown up. So I think I don't know why I haven't grown up. I must be ever so slightly mental, right?
Yeah.
But
and we love it.
So if there's a bunch of 40-somethings here, a bunch of 20-somethings here, I'm with the 20-somethings. So maybe it's that. Yes. And sometimes if I'm at a restaurant with a bunch of 20-somethings, it must look odd from a distance, right? If I'm with say 3 people that are looking good, sometimes people think I'm the band manager.
Yes.
Especially if there's a couple of girls and a guy. People think that you with me? Think that I'm the manager. And that's but when you have like 15, 20 years and me, it doesn't look like a football team or a netball team.
No.
So that's a bit weird, right? But I forget about how weird it actually looks.
Yeah, but it's remarkable. It's created such a great culture.
Yeah.
And because it's a youthfulness in you.
Yeah, that's true.
That is not dependent upon age.
No, that's true.
How do you stay like that?
And also we're having, because ministry is really intense, isn't it? Like it's intense.
Sure, totally.
And people coming and going like a bus stop. in youth ministry, parents, gosh, they can be an absolute pain in the backside because the last thing the kid needs
Tell me about it.
Yeah. The last thing that kid needs is verification from mum that he's okay. Because it says, we are growing a rat bag here. Cannot you see? You know?
Totally.
So you got to deal with parents, you got to deal with the kids, you got to deal with the senior pastor, senior pastor's kids. Oh gosh, you have got a lot of, and maybe other relatives of his are in the congregation. It is a minefield. I've got to say, right, coming out from youth ministry, ministry after youth ministry is easier than youth ministry. I think youth ministry is the hardest ministry because you got so many complications to it. You know, and maybe if you're doing kids ministry, maybe this is not true, but you know, like you're doing it for the Sunday.
Yeah.
But youth, you're doing it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not quite true to all any children's pastors there. That's not quite true, right? I'm generalizing, right? But youth ministry is dragging on you all the time.
Totally. There's a level of grit that is needed in
so in that intensity of ministry, I you know, some guys play golf. I just like to have fun.
Yes.
That's it. So
I'm with you. I hate golf.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm thinking let's have some fun, and then people like Beth Blois, she's a stand-up comedian. So if she can be in the crew, say Beth, you're like my personal entertainment system. Just start bringing out those jokes. I might be the only one that laughs, right? But it's a great trip.
Yes.
And sometimes we'll, if we're on a road trip, I always pack the car up with my PA does it, all the right young adults, and then I'll go 3 hours somewhere preach, and they'll come back with me.
So you just take a big crew.
Yeah. So I would say that serendipity is bigger than me preaching when I arrive.
Totally.
Because just rubbing shoulders, having fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes we make prank phone calls to Bible colleges or
it's amazing
pastors. I think I pretended to be Joel Ramsey once asking for Dad. Almost got to talk to Dad. Almost blocked by the final PA.
That's amazing. Joel Ramsey-esque. Yeah, well, so you're always including people where you go, your team. And I mean, like at Presence, you had about 700 people.
He had a lot of people there. That's because Presence is so good. And last year, Presence was so good.
Yeah.
I thought, gosh, I'm just going to have to do it. We're going to break the bank and bring as many people out. So and it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's
Amazing
something
time.
about the conference that's just outstanding.
Being in the room together.
Yeah, it's a great room too.
Yeah.
It's a great room and just everything about it is brilliant.
Amazing. So the other thing I wanted to ask you, a couple of thoughts, is raising leaders. So you've built this team that I look at and I can just see there's such a love for what they're doing.
Yeah.
And fun.
Yeah. And
feels free. Feels like people are free to be themselves.
Yeah.
And it's not religious.
No.
It's not stuffy.
No.
It's free, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's a big part of who we are.
Yeah.
But raising leaders, so maybe one or two tips about effectively raising leaders. Because can I say you have amazing leaders?
Yeah,
like obviously Colin and Beth are outstanding. And our brother in Hong Kong.
Oh, yeah, in KL, but it's close enough.
KL?
No, it's close, though. Let's call him Joel from Hong Kong.
Joel from Hong Kong?
KL, that's excellent, that.
He flies in every Sunday from Hong Kong.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. I think these guys, though, I think it's not true this, right? But they kind of always were good guys.
Right.
There's something about them. Raw material was good.
Yeah.
And I think also whatever they've done, they've been committed to. No one's done a stepping stone. So
I love that.
Yeah. So I tried to get our youth in Hope Church is not big, right? Because we're inner city. We're an inner city church in all locations, and so you're least populated. You're most populated as young adults because you're in a city. Yep. You're least populated as teenagers because the 40-somethings with the teens are out in the suburbs. You know, so ours has never really been big. But for example, the current Sheffield youth pastors, they were in Newcastle with 30 people just helping out.
Yeah.
I said, hey, it's a big break. Come down and be youth pastors. They said, oh, would it be all right if we didn't? Because we're just loving up here. We're committed to the place. I had to drive up there. I had to drive up there
to
with some people.
convince them.
Yes, to go find their horrible flat in a horrible area on their horrible income with horrible nothing in the place, right? Just bats flying around.
I'm jealous as you speak.
Just bats and fleas, And I said, listen, I'm serious. We really do need you to come down to Sheffield, right? And finally said, oh, all right then, right? But that's excellent though, because they're just committed to the people, loving the people, no stepping stones, no ambition, but no selfish ambition.
What have you done to foster that? Because that's amazing. It's like a stewardship thing. It's like people.
Yeah, I don't know. I think as I've been, maybe I've had to fight that myself, and just think, right, I'm here by the call of God, doing what I'm doing, maximizing I've got this expression that says that I'm a custodian of an unusual set of divine circumstances. So I kind of shove in there, not just strengths, but shove in there your weaknesses, shove in there your disadvantages, shove in there your disability, blow the thing up, maximize it.
Yeah,
because everyone's wishing there was someone else, wishing there was somewhere else.
Totally.
So I've kind of thought, no, you're a custodian. So let's like a balloon, let's blow this thing rather than let's escape from this thing.
Yeah, amazing.
So there's a little bit of I don't know, like a little bit of Afghanistan, like a little bit of army in there. So if you had a little bit of army in there and a little bit of fun in there, it's a great combination.
The two.
Because just underneath, everyone's like, if anything, when I preach in Hope City Church, I'm too serious because I care too much.
Right. Yeah. Amazing.
So because I care too much, so it's quite diligent. I've got to offset that by having a great time. But that's me offsetting me.
Yes.
And then everybody's become like that. Everyone's quite intense and they're offsetting themselves. So it creates quite a good flip around culture. Serious, not serious, serious, not serious. Because everyone is deadly serious. And then it's like after parties, you have great fun after you worked hard. And so the fun we have is because we've worked really hard.
So you contrast that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. If you don't work hard, it's like someone who's unemployed. And it's not their fault, right? But it's hard to have a great holiday.
It is, isn't it?
Yes.
It really is. You feel guilty.
Yes. And you've got nothing to holiday from.
Exactly. Come on. That is an amazing point.
Yeah.
It really is. I think work ethic is the joy of work. Yeah. Actually, the love of work. Probably our generation, millennials and what's next, Gen Z, are generally pain adverse and work adverse. But there is an amazing joy from doing
No, there really
work.
is contentment.
Yeah. But then contrasted with great fun.
Yeah. And also for us too, because we're in like like all the preachers say, you can't say some soil's harder than other soil, right?
Yeah.
That's because they're an easy soil.
Yeah. Of course they are.
They come from an easy place, right?
Of course.
But there's harder situations than others.
Totally.
And most of our situations are quite hard situations where you got to get the mallet out, you got to get the hammer out, you got to really whack away, right? So we've got light relief going on because we're up against a rock face. This is not, and stuff's not falling down from that rock face easily.
Yeah, amazing.
So in fairly tough places, and so that actually bonds you together if you also have a swim in the swimming pool afterwards.
I love it. So you're a genius preacher.
It took me ages to learn how to preach though. Like I would say, if you're looking at a late developer, right? Because my brain works very strangely, right?
Right.
And then I tried to preach normal, right, for years and years and years. It was just terrible. Like I'd get bored after 5 minutes thinking, Dave, what? And I'd be talking about the history of Israel and thinking, Dave, you're not even interested in the history of Israel. What are you doing?
That's hilarious.
And then you say, and the dictionary meaning for that, yawn. Who gives a riff about the dictionary meaning?
And you're yawning.
I'm yawning, right? So all the standard rules of preaching, which I stuck to, I just had to scrap it. Spurgeon helped me though, because every time Spurgeon says something, it's all allegory, it's all imagery.
Yes.
Everything he says. So that's all I do now. Is just paint a picture, and because I've got ADHD, I'm in the picture, then out of the picture. So I'm not hanging around for a long story.
Yes.
I can't do long stories.
Yes.
And also, I hardly ever give personal testimony.
Yeah.
when I preach. Like sometimes I finish a preach, people think that's good. Yeah, but I didn't actually give one window of illustration from my life in that entire message. But I get away with it, right? Because if you come fresh, people think, yeah, I'm getting to know you in your quirkiness rather than in your illustrations. So it's another way of allowing people into.
And when you preach, you're very much yourself.
Yes.
Which is, I think, what you're saying.
So it lets people in rather than just, here's my testimonies or here's, Jen's different. She'll share about back in the day, and even Colin will do lots of stories from home, lots of stories from, I can't remember them for a start. And secondly, it bores me talking about me, so I'd rather just give an image, pull something out.
So if you were to find a young preacher, what would be your hottest tip for a young preacher?
Oh gosh, the hottest tip is very hard though, because you have to copy people just to get going, So learn. The idea if you start off original, unless someone, I think the best thing is, right, after you preach, to go to a few people and say what was the genius in it, and then what's one thing to improve.
Great. like
just say what's 2 bits of genius, then one thing to improve. Just do that regularly, because you'll find a theme in your genius.
Right.
And then when you are good, you think, oh, this is why it's good. It won't just be a one-off.
So
then you can focus on it. Because it was only about 15 years ago. I wrote all my notes out in a little black book, right? And then afterwards, my wife said, that it was incredible. She said, you're so good at writing, creative writing, right? So now I mix creative writing with preaching by half reading it.
Yeah. And
it's a strange thing when you do read from a little black book, right, or a brown book. Sometimes people start to lean in a bit. If you've written it well, people lean in a bit, right? So it creates a different kind of preaching.
Yeah, it's great.
But it suits me only because somebody said, "Wow, your descriptions are unreal." So I thought I'll stop ad-libbing my descriptions and I'll start actually writing out my descriptions.
So you found your strength and really honed in on it. And maximized it.
Yeah, still get nervous though, because I think environmentally, you just can't tell how you're going to go.
Right, especially in a new environment.
In new environment, yeah, and the atmosphere and.
How do you handle nerves?
I get nervous. I get nervous to the point that I try and think up every word I'm going to say. I'm trying to leave nothing to chance, which is a bit OCD. It's a bit like, Dave, why do you worry so much? But I think some guys like in C3, like Greg, the Gregs, etc. They're just people who are naturally party people, aren't they?
Right.
There's but if you're a bit more melancholic, you're a bit more thoughtful. Therefore, you are a bit more anxious because you're anxious about the details.
Yes.
It's just the way you are. So you have to be a little bit better prepared than a Greg. I'm not saying Greg's unprepared, right? But I'm just saying you have to be more prepared. The more melancholic you are, the more true you need to be to that.
Right.
So you can't be an unprepared melancholic, but you can be an unprepared sanguine.
Yes.
And get away with it.
Yes. Would you be sanguine melancholic?
I wrap myself in sanguine though, because I'm in one respect, I'm too deep to really relate to the multitude. So I'll pull everything from the deep into the shallows with a sanguine porpoise.
Yes.
So, because most people, when they go swimming, they swim in the shallows, right? So I think if you're too deep, you're just over everybody's heads, right?
Totally.
And my brain will go down odd tributaries into stuff that no one really cares about. So if I do an Instagram on stuff that, like I've been down a tributary, that I'll think, why does only a few people like it? That's when I know it's just too deep. It's too ethereal for people, right? So if I pull it back, bring it to the main river, I get lots of likes. And I realize that my job is to communicate to the majority of the people, not just have a field day in my own little brain.
Yeah, right.
Which
is can stroke your own ego, but not necessarily helpful.
Yeah, that's right. So you can have good discussions, maybe in private one-on-one people, but most people aren't that interested.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, teenagers have the attention span of a goldfish. So keeping them engaged is really important.
Yeah, that's true.
How have you created environments that new people love? Church environments that new people love.
Gosh, I don't know. I think you do want. I've got rid of Christian blah blah, right? But I don't mind. I don't mind people using technical terms, right?
Sure.
Just like use the term atonement, because if I was learning about cars, interested in cars, and went to a mechanic's workshop, right?
Yeah,
I don't care if they talk about carburetor. I don't even know what one is, right? But It's intriguing.
Yeah.
I don't want them to dumb it down.
Such a good point.
You know, don't dumb it down for me. Just keep doing, but not just don't do the blah blah, which you can't do as a mechanic because you're grounded by the actual engine. But in Christianity, you can blah blah on.
You can.
Oh my God!
What's a blah blah? Give us an example.
Well, it's like you know, a blah blah is when people go on about prosperity, you know,
Sure.
if people blah blah is having not thought about it, just, you know, give, it'll be given unto you, you know, the doors of heaven will be open unto you, God will just give unto you. Right now, that's slight blah blah, because if you're talking to youth, they're not really that interested in prosperity. They're interested in adventure. Adventure grabs them. And adventure requires prosperity because you're going to have to get to the destination. But it also brings in danger. Kids love danger. Totally. Get it? So if you stop blah blahing about from you know 10 years ago, you know, God wants you to prosper. Stop blah blahing that and think, hang on a sec, God wants a great adventure. So then prosperity slips into that, but you've just reframed it because you've actually thought about it. So I've tried to create people who actually think about everything they say. And
I love that.
It just creates authenticity. And I think when people see that, they think, oh, you're a real person with a real faith, and you're not, you haven't been cultified.
It's good.
You know.
I love that. And not winging it. Sometimes in youth ministry, the tendency can be to think, I'll wing it.
Yes.
But actually to be prepared.
Yeah, that's right.
The thing I think's amazing about you is what you're saying. I think that's such a good point about the seriousness.
Yeah.
Contrasted with the fun.
Yeah.
Because people might see the fun side and think, oh, they're just all fun and it mustn't be very deep.
Yeah.
But it actually is contrasted with this.
Yes, contrasted. You want to see the whole picture.
And depth and preparation and the value and importance of what we're doing is obvious.
Another bit of blah blah, if people haven't thought about it, is say love yourself, right? You know, say love your neighbors, you love yourself. So you got to love yourself first. It's unless you're very careful with that, it's a little bit blah blah-ish, right? Totally. Because other parts you need to hate yourself. You only change yourself if you hate yourself.
Right.
You never change yourself if you love yourself.
Right.
And in other parts you need to deny yourself. So keep yourself intact, but just move yourself aside.
Totally.
You know, so the idea, we just need to love ourselves. I'm thinking, well, it is kind of true, but if you just blah blah about that, you're going way off course here.
A bit vague.
Yes. And then you just create a self-seeking generation.
Right.
You know.
Totally.
So, and it's just taken off the shelf of new ageism. It's just taken off the shelf of where the world's at, which I don't mind too much, right? As long as you know there's a little bit of fairy dust in this. It's not quite true, but we'll go with it.
Yes. And you can
we won't build on it, you know.
Yeah, right. Use it.
Yeah, use it.
Don't build on it.
Yeah, that's right.
So what would you say to us guys who, I mean, essentially are investing into, or obviously teenagers, but crew who are going to be leading the church in the future and you know, the future church? What would you say to you from your perspective would be one of the most important things? I would
say don't be balanced. I'd say with younger, you want to burn the candle at both ends. You want to be absolutely full on. Don't play into the hands of a 50-year-old saying let's have a balanced life, right? Balanced lives are boring lives.
I love that.
No one should ever be balanced. You know, it should be cramming as much in. It should be full on. You should be investing everything you've got to the point of exhaustion. You ought to feel exhausted.
I love that.
You know, and I think the idea of saving a lot of energy and almost being too light in a heavy world is not going to work for you.
In a heavy world.
Yeah, it's not going to work for you. It's a sober world. Plus, we've got the most sober job in the world to try and convert it to Christ.
Yes,
this is the big job, you know. So, but burn the candle. You know, get up early, stay up late, work this thing, get a sweat up.
Yes.
Work this thing, right? Don't look too much at the car lenses, right? Because you don't know car lens. You don't know the thorn in his side. You don't know the stuff he goes through. You just see a guy, you know, with muscle definition, thinking I want to be like Carl Lenz, and also a guy with a lot of growth.
Yes.
You know, so if you've just got 15 young people, right? Don't ever compare them to to Carl Lenz. Don't ever. You got to love them, and you got to love the unlovable, because otherwise your heart's going to remain titchy. You got to love those that hate you. You got to love
titchy.
Titchy's so small.
Small.
So we're all born with a very small heart. It only enlarges through loving unlovable people.
Amazing.
Yeah. So someone's going to turn on you. Love them. Learn forgiveness through the people who turn on you. And people who turn on you are people that actually were closest to you. And in youth ministry, it happens, right? Someone snuggles up because they have attachment issues. So snuggle up. Then they find either you're not as good as they thought, or you are now dividing your time with some other people, and then they hate you. So they love you, hate you.
Amen.
Yes. So it's a very difficult thing, that, right? So it's high degree of difficulty. So you're going to work it with the grace of God. Watch what you say. Grow by it. I think 70% of everything you go through is, you're like an iceberg, is for your own personal growth. 30% is for your own effectiveness. So all the stuff that happens that's just wrapped with a capital C, you want to convert into personal growth. Otherwise, you'll just make it frustrated, and then you'll get a cynical spirit, which you can't afford as a youth pastor to be cynical in the slightest, because it'll just work against you. Cynicism's like the foothills of unbelief. It just, you want to stay right away from it. And just process everything to enlarge your heart, and that'll prep you for when you're in your 40s and your 50s.
Right.
There's a Justin Bieber spirit around that wants to peak really early, but Justin's going to be in big trouble in 10 years' time.
Amazing.
Because everyone who is a Justin is always in big trouble 10 years afterwards, because they had fame too early. So you want to make your life gradually unfold to get better and better and better and better. And at my age, right, which I can't quite give it away because I'll have to kill you, right?
30.
That I'm loving life, but that's because I prepped it well.
Wow.
So I'm a lot younger in spirit than most people my age, because I prepped it well. Everything I've done, 2/3, this is for my growth. 1/3, this is my effectiveness. I've done every single year. So I'm ready for the big league. I'm ready for the big league now.
Say that bit again, about 2/3.
I've forgotten it now. So each year it's like 2/3 is for my personal growth. 1/3 for my effectiveness.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that's got me here, right? So I'm expecting some lightning to happen from now on, right? Because I've prepped for this.
So good.
Yeah. So I'm not retiring. I've just got out into the arena, ready to be the Usain Bolt of a generation. But I'm really old, right? But it's because I've prepped every year correctly, instead of just turning into frustration, then giving up.
Amazing. Well, sir, that's all the time we have. Thank you
You're
so
awesome.
much for your time.
Alex, the legend.
You're the best. Guys, we love you. Stay tuned. We'll be getting some more content out to you, and go to the Facebook group, Youth Network, and we'll be in touch. Goodbye.
So good. Loved it, Alex.
Thanks.
See you guys.